In this video, we're going to see Brian Tyler Cohen and Jasmine Crockett absolutely break down exactly the biggest problem in the Democratic Party leading up to the 2028 election. I'm going to give you my thoughts halfway through and then once again towards the end. Let's jump in.
Part of that, I feel like the reason that we're not going into these spaces is just this broader problem that Democrats face, where we want to avoid anything that might be controversial or unsafe. We just kind of stay away from any controversy. Do you think that, given what you said, like how Democrats should move forward with this idea that we should like throw caution to the wind and not worry about messages that are poll tested, not only state areas that we know are okay, like this was a Trump 51, Kamala 49 district, and so this is our target, we shouldn't go anywhere else. Like so much of what we do, I feel like, has to be safe. And whether it's in our messaging, whether it's in our campaigning, even when to respond, like we don't allow ourselves to come out and respond, and so it allows Republicans to own the narrative, and then when we finally deign to build up a response, and we've call a press conference 2 days from now, and the news cycle is gone already. Whatever narrative Republicans wanted to put forward already is completely ingrained. Like we're so slow often. And so how do you think about that in terms of your own strategy?
Yeah, man, you said a whole mouthful there. I will say that this kind of goes back to what we were talking about off camera when we were discussing just kind of like comms and what that looks like on the Hill and the way that they're trained. And why, for me, I'm like, I need somebody that's outside of kind of like the Hill, like
mentality.
Yeah, because number one, most of them have no idea about news cycles. None.
Yeah.
Like no clue, right? Like when we even a lot of times, and I do a lot of leading of my own comms, which is very frustrating, right? But I have more of a comms instinct. And I was a business major with emphasis in finance and marketing. So like I've done marketing, so I understand it. And I've also done media before I got here, before I got to Congress, and actually even before I got to the State House. So I understood, like, okay, well, if this is the moment, then yeah, comms person, don't go pitching me to go on TV talking about Z when we're talking about A all day. Like the moment is past, right? And so even one of my young staffers yesterday was asking me about posting about something. I was like, it's State of the Union Day. If it ain't about State of the Union, it's not getting posted today. Not getting posted today, because we want to make sure that it gets the traction. But it's a similar kind of mindset when you're talking about social media. Now, granted, you can get to the point that you can actually create your own ecosystem and create kind of the news
cycle.
Yeah, you can on social media, but like I was like, that's not what this is not where we are. And so I was like teaching her, and like, this is when you should post about this, because that's when it will make better sense, because we're just going to be talking about the State of the Union, and so it's not going to hit the algorithms the same way. And so I do think that it's important that we start to shift, because there hasn't been a measurable shift, right? Like, it's like, oh, okay, well, Trump won. And then everybody's like deer in headlights. It's like, dude, like, hello, like some of y'all have been here before, so you know what he's like, and you know that it was only going to be supercharged, right? And so like tapping into that. And then again, like it's the idea of what type of training do you have? Not everyone can do media, period. That's just the bottom line. And then
we've learned that
in a very painful way, but nevertheless, and then not everybody can do every type of media, right? You have some people where they can do the very traditional news that is going to be local. Some are better at doing the cable news. Some can do podcasts. I'm learning that most cannot. Because they are from a different kind of school of thought when it comes to politics, right? So it's like, well, I got to be super buttoned up. And I handle politics the way that I handled practicing law. Like, when I would go into a jail and talk to a client, I am not talking at all of this crazy legalese. Like, he knows when I show up that I'm a lawyer. So he knows that I have done everything that I need to do to become who I am, right? And what my job is. But you got to understand the plan, honey. So, like, when I show up, I had to not only show up and make sure that my client understood, but also, I mean, I literally represented killers. So I couldn't show up and be scary either. So that's another reason that, like, you don't see me, like, cowering to bullies. Like, no, like, if they sensed that you were weak in any way, They took advantage of that. So I would talk to them one way, but then when I show up to a jury,
Right.
it's people from all over the community with all different levels of education. And so I'm talking to them a certain way. But by the time I got to argue something in front of the judge, I know which way I got to go.
Right.
And not everybody can do that. Not everybody can.
And that's the
So one of the things that I just want to say, and it's interesting actually that Brian Tyler Cohen and Jasmine Crockett done this video. The timing is really, really quite interesting for me. Reason being is that over the past week or so, I've literally been sitting here thinking to myself, okay, so what's the Democratic Party's next move? I've literally been thinking that what's the next move when it comes to the Democratic Party? Because I have no clue. There's a reason as to why Jasmine Crockett is probably the superstar of the Democratic Party right now. And what she's speaking about is so important: strategy, moving with the times. We have to understand one thing: Donald Trump won that election purely down to social media. That's how he won that election: social media. You know, getting attention, getting eyeballs, leveraging social media to do it. And then on top of that, what was he doing? He was out and about doing podcasts, sitting down for hours on end, spending time with people, albeit virtually, and they're listening to what he's saying, consuming all the lies that it is that he's spreading. But he's getting himself out there and he's putting himself in front of the people. So it's just amazing timing by Brian and Jasmine Crockett to actually put this video out. And I do believe that there's some really important pointers in here that the Dems need to be paying attention to. What's the strategy? How are we marketing ourselves moving forward going into 2028? Because believe me, the Republican Party and MAGA, they have their strategy down. Take a look at the individuals that they have that are working social media on the Republican side: MAGA, Charlie Kirks, the Benny Johnsons, all of these types of individuals. The Democratic Party need to get up to date when it comes to marketing, comms, and to an extent even PR. You have to get up to date with it. Have to. But let's drop back in.
That's the wild part, because I mean, like, the number one rule of public speaking is to know your audience. And so the people who, like, look, politicians know what they're doing. They presumably know what they're doing when they get here. They know how to write legislation, presumably. They knew how to do all the committee stuff and speak in that way. But I think right now there seems to be ignorance in the fact that the audience isn't other politicians. The audience is the American people. And so when you speak to the American people in a way that sounds like rote politics speak, you lose them, especially in an era where people are so starved for authenticity. I mean, this is the social media era. And so if you're not going to be able to connect with people because you can't shake that politics speak, you can't shake that stiffness, then you're not only are you going to lose people, but you're never going to be able to break through in a media environment where you do have people who get it, who understand how to break through in this media environment. People like Trump himself. I mean, part of the his winning formula is just he knows how to get attention.
Yes.
He knows how to get on camera, and we have folks. But you do know how to get on camera. A lot of people don't understand that when we're talking about how to speak to folks, that the end user, the audience here, is not their colleagues in Washington D.C. It's the American people, and they don't speak the same way that the folks here speak.
Correct. Yeah. No.
Bingo. That is exactly what it is that I just said from Brian Tyler Cohen. Then knowing how to get themselves on camera. This is the level that it is that politics is at. This is where it's at today. You know, a lot of the Democratic individuals that are out there, they now need to move with the times, and they need to put themselves in a position where, understand, you need to know how to get yourself on camera and get yourself in front of people. Guys, look, there is absolutely no coincidence that the videos that I've made in relation to Jasmine Crockett, all of them have blown up. There's no coincidence there. And the reason as to why that's the case is because she has grown her brand, and she's understanding a term in marketing that's called omnipresence. She's everywhere. Everywhere you look when it comes to the left, Jasmine Crockett is there, front and center. And you have to ask yourself the reason as to why, because she's understood the power and the importance of getting herself on camera, you know, getting eyeballs, getting people to be able to hear her message. So important to be able to do that. But let me know your guys' thoughts in the comment section below this video. What do you think about the Democratic Party and their strategy leading up to 2028 and also for the midterms as well? What is your opinion? Because I need to know, because I'll be honest, if things stay as they are right now, I'm really worried about the Democratic Party because I don't see anybody becoming an exciting, up and coming star other than Jasmine Crockett. Nobody resonates currently. And it's a really, really worrying thing. Let me know your guys' thoughts in the comment section below this video. But listen, I'm just another individual just like you who needs to understand what's the plan, what's the strategy. Let me know your guys' thoughts in the comment section below this video. Thank you guys for watching another video on Just to Confuse Brit. If you're brand new to the channel and you've never tuned into any content like this before, do me a massive favor, go below, hit the thumbs up button. And if you want to stick around for more political commentary from an outsider, from an individual who lives across the pond, across in the UK, hit that subscribe button and I'll be more than glad to welcome you to the family. Let me know your guys' thoughts in the comment section below this video and I'll see you guys in the next one.